I saw this tutorial online, found this pattern, and I believe this is called Row of Flowers, and it's a knitted pattern. There are 4 rows to create the pattern. It's just knit and purl. It's a little bit tricky on one row, but it's not really difficult. I don't consider myself an advanced knitter, but I was able to figure this out. And so I thought I would put a tutorial on so that if you liked it, you might be able to try it yourself. So each one of these flowers consists of 6 stitches, and then there's 1 in the center. So whatever length you're doing, it needs to be in sets of 7. So 6 for the flower and the 1 in the center. You don't have to make 6 for the flower, you can make 5 as well. I've seen tutorials for 5, but I chose the 6 and we'll go from there. So the very first row is simply to knit, and so we'll start with knitting our row and then we'll go from there. I'm just going to keep the camera rolling and let you follow along with me, and we'll just do this together. And again, it's a little tricky in spots, but it's not anything really that you can't accomplish if you give it a try. So for my little sheet that I have here, I decided I wanted 5 flowers, and I put 1 stitch extra on the end just so that I would have 1 stitch to spare on each end. So that gave me 5 times 7 was 35, and I added the 1 stitch, so I ended up with 36 stitches. So you would do your first casting on of stitches, and then this is row 1, just knit all the way across. And that's one of the easiest rows. Row 1 and row 4 actually are just the same. They're just plain knitting, and it's row 2 and row 3 that will actually create your beautiful flower pattern. So we're just about to flip it over. Normally now we might purl on the way back, but we're not going to this time. Okay, so row 1 is finished. Row 1 is just simply to knit across. Okay, so row 2, we start creating our flowers. So we are going to knit the first stitch, and remember we have sets of 7. So this is our first stitch, this is knit 1. Then in the next 6 stitches, we put the needle in as if to knit, and we're going to wrap the yarn. Instead of wrapping it around once, we're going to wrap it around 3 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then you pull it through, and then the next one is the same. We wrap the yarn around 1, 2, 3, and you pull it through. So that's 2, 1, 2, 3, and you pull it through. So there's 3. Wrap it around 3 times, and there's 4. 1, 2, 3, and there's 5, and 1, 2, 3, and there's 6. Okay, so there's our flower, and then we have 1 in the middle, so we knit 1. Okay, then we're going to do our next set. So we're going to do 6 again with this triple wraparound. So 1, 2, 3. You may have to hold the yarn there a little bit with your left hand. There you go. There's number 1. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, and push it through. So that's 2, and 1, 2, 3, and there's 3, and 1, 2, 3, and there's 4, and 1, 2, 3, there's 5, and 1, 2, 3, there's 6, and then we're going to knit our 1 between the flowers, and then we're going to start our next flower. 1, 2, 3, there's number 1, 1, 2, 3, there's number 2, 1, 2, 3, there's number 3, 1, 2, 3, number 4, 1, 2, 3, whoops, and number 5. And 1, 2, 3, number 6, and then our 1 in between. And I just have 2 left. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And I lost count. So how do you figure out if you've lost count? How do you find out where you are? So the back, you can find, there's my 1 by itself, and here is 1 by itself. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 2 more. 1, 2, 3. That's 5. And 1, 2, 3, and there's 6, and then I need my 1 in between, just a regular knit one. And then this is my last one. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. There's 1. 1, 2, 3. There's 2. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. And 1, 2, 3. There's 3. 4. And this is 1, 2, 3. There's 5. And this is number 6. 1, 2, 3. And my 1 at the end. There. Just like that. That's row number 2 finished. So you'll notice now that on the front we have a little ridge. So our flower is starting to take shape, and it will stand up and stand out from the flat background. Okay, row number 3. So row number 3 is the trickiest, I think. So what we're going to do, row number 3, even though we're going this direction and normally we would be knitting, but we're going to be purling this time. Okay, so the first stitch we're going to purl 1. Then this is important, we're going to put our yarn in the back as if we're going to knit, and then we're going to take these 6 stitches off that we made that we wrapped the yarn around. We're going to pretend that we're purling. Okay, so here we go, and they're going to be nice and long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's our first flower. Then we bring the yarn around the front, and then we pick up those 6 and we put them on our left hand needle. So this is the tricky part. So put it through the back, get all 6, but don't get the 7th one. You don't want that 7th one. It has to stay by itself. Okay. So then you slide your right needle out. Okay, and you still have your first stitch on there, hopefully. And then you put your yarn around the back, and you put them back on your right needle. Okay, so you've got a strip across the front. You're going to bring the yarn to the front again. You're going to lift those off again and slide the right needle out, and then you're going to put your yarn around there again, put them back on the right needle, and this is the last time, and then you tighten it up a bit, bring your yarn to the front, and you're going to purl your 1. Okay, so you've got 1 flower just about done. You're going to put your yarn in the back again, and then you're going to lift off your 6. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, got them long and loopy. Here they are. We're going to bring our yarn around the front. We're going to pick up those 6 stitches with our left hand needle, and we're going to slide the right needle out. Whoops, see what I did? I slid out my 1 in between, so I'm going to put that back on. I'm not supposed to slide that out. I'm going to put my yarn in the back, and then I'm going to pick them back up with my right needle. Okay, got that. Bring my yarn to the front, pick them up again with the left needle. And this is just the trickiest part. Okay, slide them off. Whoops, I did it again. And then put the yarn in the back again, slide them back on your right needle. This is the last time. There you go. Nice and snug. And then you bring your yarn to the front again because you're going to purl the one in the middle, right? Here we go. So we're going to purl this one. And then we put our yarn in the back again, and then we do our 6 stitches of our flower. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We bring our yarn to the front. We lift those 6, transfer them onto our left hand needle. I'll try not to get my little one here. There we go. Take the right needle out. There you go. Put the yarn in the back. Pick them back up again. Oh, I don't know what I did here. Looks like I missed one, doesn't it? There we go. Bring the yarn to the front. Then you're going to pick them all up again. Transfer them to the left needle. Take the right one out. Put the yarn in the back. Put them back on the right hand needle. There, you got 2 pieces of thread going across the front, see? Like that. You're going to tighten them just a bit. Not too much now because you're going to be needing to get into the top of these. Bring your yarn around to the front and you're going to purl your one. Okay, here we go into our next set. Yarn in the back. Then we're going to pick off our 6. Here we go, our next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our 6 stitches. We're going to bring our yarn to the front. Then we're going to transfer those 6 stitches onto our left needle, pull out the right, put the yarn in behind, and then put them back on your right needle. There's your first layer across the front. You'll bring the yarn to the front. You're going to put your left needle back in. You're going to pick them up again, take the right one out, put the yarn in the back. And you're going to put them finally on your right needle. Here you go. You've got your 2 strands going across the front. You're going to bring your yarn to the front, and then you're going to purl your 7th stitch, which is the one between your 2 flowers. Okay? Let's do one more. Here we go. We put our yarn in the back. We're going to pick up those 6 stitches as if to purl. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to bring our yarn to the front. We're going to transfer these 6 stitches onto our left hand needle. Just 6, no more, no less. Pull out the right needle. There you go, you got them. Put your yarn in the back. You're going to put them back on the right hand needle, and you're going to bring your yarn to the front, and you're going to transfer them back onto the left needle because you want to go around them one more time. Here you go. Transferring now. We're going to put the yarn in the back. We're going to pick them up for the final time with the right needle, tighten it up a bit, and we're going to bring our yarn to the front, and we're going to purl your last number 7. Okay, so you can see it's starting to take shape. That's what we did, was we tied the flowers in the center. Okay, now that was row number 3. So row number 4 is the same as row number 1 in that we're just simply going to knit. It's a little bit, you have to keep an eye out. You're going to knit number 1, but then you're going to knit the top of the flowers. So you need to be really careful that you end up with 6 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. So if you mess them up a little bit, as I did, you may have to go in and fix them a bit. So there's 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Oops, I'm going to try to fix this one a bit. 5 and 6. Okay, so I have 6. Whoops. Put that back on my needle. My needle is sliding out of my hands here. Let's try to save this without wrecking it. Okay, let's take the 6th one off. There, 6. Then we're going to do the one, number 1, that's the one in the center of the flower, right? Then we're going to make sure we have 6. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the next one is what? The next one is the 1 in the center. There we go. Then we're out into our 6 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then back to our 1 in the center. And then our next flower. Here we go. Hold them back with your finger maybe if you need to. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the next is our 1 between the flowers. And then our last flower on the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I do 5? 6. And then our 1 at the end. Knitted. Okay, so that's it. We have made our row of flowers. So now that this pattern is finished, I'm just going to knit across to show you how that it just makes it pop out from the rest of the project. So I'm just going to knit across all the way, and that will make the flowers stand out. Now the next YouTube video that I'm going to make is I need to learn how to do this stitch for stocking, and when I do my stockings I use 3 needles. So the next project will be part 2, which will be doing the same pattern in the round, doing it on a round needle or doing it on 3 needles. So it will just take a little bit of tweaking and it will work, I'm sure, and it will be a lovely, lovely addition on a stocking. So we're almost finished this row. And again, this is not part of the pattern, but this will just show you how the pattern pops. It lifts, it raises right off the project. So I'm assuming that if you were making something, this is the row that you would change colors if you wanted to make another pattern or start from here, you would change colors on this row. So now that I have knit across, then the next thing I'm going to do is just purl back. Isn't that just lovely? So I'm going to just purl back, and then you'll be able to see how the flowers pop up, that row of flowers, how it pops out and just stands right out. So this is purling, just a regular purl stitch on the way back. There, so we have finished our purl row. So there you can see how the row of flowers actually stands right out and is raised. Quite dainty, really pretty. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next video.